In this video I'm going to talk about why women are burning out more than men. What is going on? My name is Marianna Bergsdóttir. I'm Icelandic and I'm a veterinarian, and I burned out 2.5 years ago. And I'm very interested in why this is happening. Of course, you can take the easy version because it was too much to do. I have 6 kids, big family, and was working in a leadership job in the corporate world. So, if you take the basics, day-to-day things, and how our society is built, then we have that, in most relationships, the woman is doing more than the man. This is just built in. Often when we ask people, do you do equal? Yes, we do. He does everything too, just like I do. But then if you look a little bit closer, we are doing a third shift. And the third shift is, remembering to take the kid to the dentist, or ordering to the doctor, or anything that you have to remember. Buy birthday presents and, know that we need milk and we have to buy toilet paper. And all those things that is in our minds. And when people then say that we do equal, it is just that I ask my husband to do things and he does his half. But just remembering all those things is actually a really big job. So I'm very glad that I have put a lot of that one over on my husband, so we have actually equal. To fix this, I recommend having something like a joint calendar. We have Cozy, where you can I write in, or he does when something comes from school that something is happening, and then you both get reminders. It's easier to work this way. But that's not the main thing I'm going to talk about today. The main thing is how our society is built wrong, completely. And if you look at society today, everyone is supposed to work equally every day. We're supposed to, come to work, do the same thing, and next day, and next day, and next day. But this actually isn't good for our female biology. Because if you look into this, first, like research. Research has been focused on men. So women actually don't know much about our own biology, because it hasn't been researched. It was many years that it was actually not allowed to have women in research because they could get pregnant, which is not good. But even if some 1993 or 5 was allowed to have women, they still choose men because 1, we can get pregnant, and 2, our hormones go in a monthly cycle, not a day like for men. Men have, cortisol and melatonin running, sleep and wake. We also have those, but so they can function equally every day of the month. And society is built for men. We all know this. But how is it for us, women? What is different in our biology that makes it, I'm very interested in spirituality. And you maybe heard this, that in the olden days and even now, look at the moon cycles. You're going to follow the moon cycles and follow your energy up and down. Why did the ancients say this? It is because they actually knew more than we do, or did. It's just coming now. The thing is that if you look at what they did, they knew that when you live away from all these chemicals we have today and light and everything, then often in a tribe, women would sync up. And actually, they don't know why, but they would go in the moon phases. So our menstruation would rhythm with the moon. It's very pretty. And when they sync up, then they had this leadership group, and they would actually take all those women that were menstruating at the same time and ask them to make the decision for the next month. Why did they do this? And that's where comes the interesting thing, because when we're menstruating, our progesterone and estrogen is at its lowest. We get tired, fatigued, we don't want to do much. But what is higher with this It is our empathy and actually our intuition. And science is slowly, they actually can measure intuition in our body. Intuition isn't just a spiritual thing that is voodoo. It's a real thing, and it's biology. And I can say probably a little bit voodoo too, because sometimes I know things I can't know. But if, when we have the first phase, menstruation, we are tired. We all know this. And if I could follow my body, I would just stay at home, do very little, maybe, walk the dog, do as little as possible, and just breathe inside. And this is the best time for analysis. And the reason, if you look at the biology, and it's really good that we are more tired and don't power through, just relax, because then we can listen to our intuition. We can analyze things we know, and we don't look at, the papers. It's something in the brain that is healthy. So relaxing at this time is the best. The next phase is the follicular phase. And the follicular phase is from, menstruation end until you have ovulation. And in this time period, the estrogen goes up. And with estrogen going up, we get higher energy and higher metabolic function. Writing this down. More mood-boosting chemicals, they say. And it's actually more activity in the brain. So this time is the perfect time to carry out this strategy that you laid out before, because you have big scope and you can just, okay, we do this, and we have a strong biological, emotional connections to people. So it's very good to work with someone to get them to do things. It's good for us to read. It's a good time for us to read people. Then we have the shortest phase, which is the third phase, ovulation, and that's just 1 to 3 days. These are not straight boxes, they flow together. But in this time, we have a peak in estrogen and follicular and luteinizing hormones. And when we have this peak in those hormones, we also get the peak in our energy. So this is the time where you go and boost up your exercise routine, because now you have so much energy. And actually, some of those hormones make us more attractive and more, I don't know the word, attractive would be the easiest one. And that means this would be the perfect time for you to have hold that speech, or, elevator pitch or things like that. Because your energy is high, and it's really, really good time for us, but it's so short. And I will take that afterward. The fourth phase is the luteal phase. And in the luteal phase, we have estrogen is going down and progesterone is going up. What happens is actually that our brain cells are growing. Because this means that brain cells are growing. It's, 10, 15 years ago, they thought we just had an X amount of brain cells and they would never grow again. That's not true. Our brain cells are growing in this phase. This is the longest phase. And when this is a good time for us then to learn and to teach and to do all the things. It's very, very important for us to sleep well in this time, because if we don't, everything gets disturbed and we have so big brain function. So how, when then we as women are asked to work flat, same every day, all year long, all month, the whole month, what happens is that when we're on a period, then we just, coffee or some stimulants, energy drinks to power through. And when we power through our tiredness, then we don't get the quiet time needed to get the bright ideas. The bright ideas that in the corporate world would be genius to get. So it's not good for us or the firm to have this. But then if we are allowed to go down and do less at this time, then we can do more at other times. So in a span of a month, we have actually done more than we do when we all will just do flat, always the same, the male version, because the world is male and we follow them. So if we want to change the world and actually use the 50% of the population better, then we have to change this. We have to accept that we have a fluctuation that males don't have. And it's not a bad thing. That's the main thing. It's not a bad thing. Because just if a research where they have several thousand of people, men and women, and they were looking at the brain with brain scans, and they found out that in 70 of the 80 ROS research in the brain, then they could see that women have an increased function because we have so many receptors for progesterone and estrogen that the part of our brains work better than males. This is especially the prefrontal cortex, hippocampus, and hypothalamus. So, and more. So why not use this fluctuation that we have in the best way for the benefit of the society? On the flip side, what is happening when we have this flat structure is, why are women not represented as leaders? I was in a leadership position. What happened? I burned out. I was trying to do the flat, as everyone else was doing, and not respecting my inner need to relax. And it's not good for us. It's really not good for us. And women in leadership are burning out at an alarming rate. Also, now with COVID, we actually have that many women are just leaving the corporate world. They say, no, nothing more. We've been at home. We actually could follow our rhythm. They don't know why this is better, but they just feel, I'm not going back because it's not good for us. So we have a brilliant, brilliant place now to change this. And if we look at, young girls and older, after when our period stops, then we actually still have these cycles going, because we don't just turn into a man, but we still have these cycles going because our biology is wired to this. And our teenage girls, do you remember being a teenager, going to school and having a period, and you had brain fog, you hardly could think, you had to be there, just half dying. It was so hard. How can we make this a normal part of life? How can we change school so girls can blossom, so they can, allow the rhythm? I'm not talking about, they're supposed to be at home those days when they have menstruation, but in a good way, listen to our biology. Because we have to teach our girls to listen to our biology, and we have to teach our boys that female biology is not embarrassing and something you shouldn't talk about because it's so horrible, like they teach today. Actually, science have to catch up on this, how the female cycle is, so we can use it. And if you take this school time, what could we do in school? I don't know. Suggestion would be things like, if you know a whole month in front of you when you're supposed to deliver assignments, or that you're supposed to deliver an assignment, then you can watch your own cycle. Okay, in this part of the month I actually work best, so then it's good to write it, and then I have my ovulation, and then I can hold the speech. Are just small things. We don't have to do everything like we have done it before. And change classrooms, give more possibility to relax, have shorter days maybe, or, the possibilities are endless what we can do to help. And I think that we have to stop this burnout epidemic. It's ruining lives, really, really is. Many people that burn out, they get back to work after a while, but even after 3 and 7 years, they report, 99%, most of them at least, they report that we always have to look after ourselves in a different way and don't work the same way as before. And it's just stupid to ruin so many nervous system with a thing that we could do different. So I'm going to put a link to Kyla Ossenhoff, PhD, I was listening to a conversation with her, And this is absolutely brilliant. And this is something I've been thinking about for years because, you know, as a veterinarian, we learn about the phases of the evolution for animals. And I'm human, it's biology, it's same for animals and as for us, you know, with slight difference. Oh, that might be offensive, but it really is the same biology. So, more research, we can do this. And one thing, when you're highly biological thinking and science thinking, you often go, when you look at old things or spiritual things, and go like, oh, that's so stupid, science can't, you know, science has proven this is wrong or something. But stop and think, maybe science hasn't caught up. So when you look at the moon cycles and all the women that are following the moon cycle and find it stupid, just remember, now science caught up. They know why. And thank you very much. Please, if you like this, subscribe.